And in my personal life, I'm not going nowhere because I don't have a fucking job because I put all my time in music. So I have no credit. Back living at my mom's at that time. Like it was all around just like shitty. I was broke, but everybody knew me. Oh, popular rapper, cool. But no money was. The shows were not paying what they needed to pay. Like I was getting shortchanged for shows, and it's no offense to them. I couldn't bring enough people physically to the shows. They had me out selling their tickets. I'm not a salesperson. It's not my strong suit. So I failed at certain parts of the game where that's on me. So I start having all these relationship with all these other artists, but guess what? Like, yo, you're cool. They're acquaintances. But when you have borderline personality disorder, everybody's your best friend when you finally click, everybody's your best friend until they're not. Because you only have extremes. And if you're not
Big
managing
facts.
that, every relationship you're building is like you're super close. You chill with somebody 4 or 5 times and you guys have a dope conversation. You're like, that's fam right there. You know what I mean? And I used to get clowned for it at a certain point. I'm not even gonna lie. Like Pesci would troll me. Sometimes like, yeah, fam, like you troll my posts, like because I was like I felt close to everybody because of my level of respect for them. But you have a mental illness, sometimes it gets out of hand, and your
Yeah.
emotions. I was so not managing it with all the success that I crashed and burned because I'm my own manager. I'm technically still my own PR. I do everything, and the key to where I was getting to with the moral of the story is delegate. By not delegating, by not building the right team around me, and I'm sure I could have if I believed enough in myself that I could keep the people around me. But again, your disorder kicks in and you don't trust anybody. So
Oh
you
my
keep everybody at
gosh.
a, you know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yo.
So the simple thing goes from there. I'm still making music, but I'm not getting the views I was once getting. And I'm looking at it like I'm falling off instead of looking at it like, no, what the problem is I had a bunch of singles and I never dropped the album. And I'm sitting there sitting on songs of the album like, I'm not sure I want to put this song out. Like this ain't it. This ain't it. I just didn't feel confident in the body of work. So I sat on it and sat on it until nobody gave a shit whether it was coming out anymore. Dropped a couple little little loose singles here and there, but I quietly let myself fade out because I was like, Dutch was Dutch had died, News had died. So this is basically the short version is that span where everything was at its peak. Dutch died, News died, two of my grandfathers died, and a close friend of mine shot himself in the face. And now, Dutch and News, for different reasons, it affected me. They gave me very big opportunities. They played a part in my career, and they were nice. They were great to me personally. But I'm not going to be like, oh, they were my best friend, and I lost my. I cared so much though because that's the bond that they gave me. They showed me love, so my love for them, losing them, hurt. But that and not diminishing it, but I could have gotten maybe through that because it didn't hit as close to home as the other situations. Both my grandfathers dying was something, but then the friend that died, here's the problem. Before he hits me up like 3 days before he killed himself. And I'm cool with the family. They know they have no problem with me talking about it because it's part of my journey. But he calls me and he says, "Yo, remember how you went to Banff? We need to do that right now." He's like, "Pack your stuff. I'm coming to get you. We're going." And I'm like, "Bro, are you fucking serious right now? Like, you think I'm leaving today to Banff? I have a music career." That's the words. Like I felt so high and mighty, like I'm riding a high. I was like, I have a fucking career here. Like, think I'm just gonna give up being Rico Blox and just move across the country? And he's like, "All right, man, I get it, man. Cool, man. Yo, I'll call you later." And I'm like, "But why?" And he just hangs up. So it turns out he had amassed himself some debts. He had been in some bad stuff, and he was going through it, and he wanted to run away. And so I found out when I found out he killed himself. I'm like, yo, but if I had left, he'd still be alive. So the next 2 3 years of my life was survivor's guilt and borderline personality disorder in full swing, extra emotional, couldn't make sense of things. I was not in the condition that I need to be out in the public and deal with it. So I almost became agoraphobic, where I didn't leave the house. I was home for 3 years. I went out for stuff that I needed, but for I didn't go out. No clubs, no parties, no events, no birthdays, no. I didn't give a fuck about nothing. finally kicked myself in gear because I stopped feeling sorry for myself, went and got help and started rebuilding up. So built my whole life. The shit that I didn't do because I was chasing music, I built that. I got a fucking real job. I got my credit score on track. I got a driver's license. I got a car. I built the life that I needed to have to be able to function as a regular person in order to facilitate making music again. And that's where we're at today. Like story wise, like there could be a lot of little ins and outs,
Right,
but
right.
overall, like this is where we're at today. We're
Well,
2017. We're at
so
2017. 2017, I lost 80 pounds. That was the last like moment of shedding all the old shit.
you lost
Like I
80
got my head
pounds?
right, and then I lost 80 pounds.
So
Yeah, because I
straight up.
gained 80 pounds sitting on my ass at home.
All right, so you just shared a whole bunch of stuff, and I gotta just say some
Yeah.
stuff in response. So personally, I don't know if anyone else how they feel, but listen, I got the borderline personality situation, right? And so a lot of what you said resonated with me in like a lot of ways. Like I don't know if you really can appreciate how much of what you said resonated in terms of my experiences
I do
coping with
because
a
I
lot of
didn't
things.
have that from other people. I didn't have a reference point of people. We didn't come from a time where people would get diagnosed.
Right.
So people being able to connect to my story, it's why I tell it. Like I could keep it personal. Nobody needs to know
But
like
it's
why
like
it
it's
goes to the scene,
huge.
but I share it because somebody else might be going through it. You know what I mean? So and
But like
it's not a death sentence. Like it's not the end of a social life. Like
nah,
once
but
you
like
learn how to manage it, it's an
it's it.
advantage. I now consider it my greatest gift, not my curse.
Yo, I
Yo, the
literally I use
analytical mind, the logical mind I get from combating it makes me observe situations from an aspect that most people don't see. Life is a game of chess to me because my brain, when you have what we have, depending on the symptoms you get, like, right?
yeah,
So
no,
part of
like we
anxiety is worrying
dog,
about
I
the
feel
future.
like talking to you,
You know what I mean?
like I feel like in a sense, the way you think, the logic patterns that you follow, even like yo, listen, you know what the hardest part about growing my team in life is? It's trust. It's
Yeah.
trust that I so my here's like my girlfriend asked me, do you need to check this and I'm like, keywords, just whatever, setting up the video, making it look nice. And I'm like, do I have to? Like, like I had to think about it. Like, no, that's the whole point of delegation is honestly not to check everything and to kind of like move past that kind of like vibe and to learn how to let other people make decisions that are in your benefit because they got your back because and so like you were describing an element of that, even the agoraphobia part in my 30s, dude. I really am okay doing this on meets for the rest of my life. I'm gonna buy a Zoom, dude. That's how down I am for
Yeah.
this online because the idea of actually being around a constant wave of new people and listen, I could do like a one a week in person. I could be ready, but it's a whole mental preparation, right? You got to
Of
get
course.
in a vibe. I use a copious amount
Think
of
about it. All
weed.
my networking, that's what I was saying, getting back to, when I was networking in the clubs and all the shows, the events that I kicked it with all these artists, that was great moments. But nobody realized how hard it was for me to be in a group of people, like constantly in a crowd of people and being around and feeling like I'm on display because I'm analyzing every move I make,
No, no,
hoping
but
I'm not
like,
being judged and
so
criticized
I
by
don't
it.
even think
You
the
know?
people might, because some people are going to hear what we're saying and they're going to connect. But for the people that don't necessarily understand what we're talking about, it is like literally everything. Like my eye keeps shifting because I need to make sure the clock is ticking and the stream didn't break. Because what
Yeah.
happens if the stream breaks? And then I look over there. Is it totally fine? Is it cool? And then it says every detail. Did the chat move? Did this happen? And it's like I have to learn as I keep doing this to let go and to have trust. Because, I got moderators literally in the chat for the whole purpose of letting me know if shit gets fucked up. Believe it or not. And I'm still fucking. It's going to take me years, maybe. Maybe. It could be 6 months. I don't know. But it's like a lot of what you said is facts to me. Like a lot of what you said is,
Oh,
is
yeah.
powerful.
Dude, there's a lot of, I'm telling you, the stuff that comes with it. There's a lot of bridges I thought I burned that I never burned. I thought it because my borderline personality disorder had me going, nah, man, that person doesn't call me anymore, so they don't fuck with me anymore.
Oh my
And
God. I
so
relate to
even
that
me and
too.
Rough Sound, me and Rough Sound didn't speak for like 7 years, and it was never a beef. I just spoke when I spoke to him recently. I'm like, I tell him this, right? And I'm like, I wasn't in the right state of mind. I thought everybody didn't fuck with me no more. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? It's like, when are we doing something? Because you let yourself get into your own head. It took a long time for me to be in the right state of mind because the idea of being on social media and promoting music and putting it out there. Listen, I'll give it a perfect example. On Stop Frontin' on the video, there's a YouTube comment. Somebody wrote, that dude needs a stylist. Yo, that comment offended the fuck out of me. It's so inconsequential, but it's one YouTube comment, and I was like, fuck, you telling me I can't dress, motherfucker? Like, so you, it's hard being an artist dealing with that kind of mental disorder because you're dealing with all of that. Like
Yeah.
the constant allowing people to judge you
Yeah.
is your worst fear. You don't want to be judged. It
Never.
took a long. The only thing, see, and that's what rap always helped me because I was like, you can judge whatever the fuck you want, but I can spit, motherfucker. And that became my confidence booster, right? That became the thing that allowed me to build the self esteem because I knew I could spit. I knew I could go anywhere and spit a verse and get respect at the very least. So we all had our coping
No,
mechanisms
but
to how to deal with it.
another
But
interest.
fame has always been something I hate. The idea of being famous terrifies me.
There was
Like I
just.
don't need people watching my moves. I just want people enjoying my music.
I
Like
swear,
everything
fuck,
else, even videos, don't come naturally to me
dude, I
at all.
fucking love what you're saying because I can relate a lot. You know what's